Always. Okay, so our members online, hope you can hear everybody. Yeah, you can type in the chat box and say yes or you can talk to me. I believe we can all hear me. That being said, before I move any further, as we know, we have a great technical session lined up for us today. And I would like to, at this structure, call to the IT group, our dear brother and partner and our elder speaker, who has been here long before we all know his name. So I'm just on our next channel, probably 4 years before the days. I think our next channel is here, maybe like an hour before we started. In a round of applause, please, I'm going to welcome to the IT group. Sir, please stay. What you praise I hear you say, excellent. It's not amazing. That was very yes. Okay, I think things are today. I'm sure I can get to that as well as our agenda. Definitely United States. As we know, one of the critical reasons why we gather every month is to ensure we keep ourselves with technical knowledge, more spheres of life, not just accounting. So as we know, we are usually accounting practitioners. So in accounting, auditing, taxation, anything related to life general. Over the past year, we had somebody who talk to us about our health and fitness, mental health, things like that. But today, we have a particular topic that is related for us to really gain maximum benefits of it. I'm sure by the time we get to the session, it's taking place for about 45 to 50 minutes. So it be one of its mentors. So thank you once again for being there. I'm going to now also last year who are here that will thank them enough. It's not enough for you to serve this district or just streaming the items or online. It shows that your heart is particular districts that you serve. Recently, most of all, is thank our next chairman, who also is our patron, one of our patron. Praise the Lord. I was just saying, it's a man that needs for example. Principle say we don't want us to sign. Oh, I can do like this one. Thank you so much. Next team also is our air past chairman, Dr. John C. Bachelor AFC. Also our vice chairman online. For the first time, we was beautiful down only one and only one. All our past chairmen, thank you for the sacrifice and promise for your labor of love to come and empower the right hand of God. Thank you. So moving to the business of today, and also thank you all for being here. Members, a round of applause for yourselves. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the business of the day, we're going to the agenda. We need to adopt the agenda. If I mentioned there's anything we left out. So very please look at the agenda and see if there's anything you'd like to take out from it. The absence of any, and that is also what you need for the adoption of the agenda. Scheduled for today, 11th January. These ones for the motion can come from either or on sites. Who's moving the motion for the adoption of the agenda? Okay, sir. Can I get your name and your membership number? Okay, for those online to hear you. It's not hard. Mr. Sunday. Thank you so much, sir. Can I have a second online? Anybody online? That's one second motion. So it's today with us. We are moving the motion for the agenda to be adopted. Is anybody typing in the chat box? So everybody raising their hand. It's not even online. And online people hear me. Sorry. It's not surprised.
We can hear you. You're audible, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Supports the motion of the agenda that we made already by Mr. Sunday.
Hello, good morning.
So you can raise your hand. Okay. That's the answer. What's the second? Is it supporting the motion? It's trying to bring in our people online as much as possible. Okay, please, I'm saying Madam Cynthia, yes.
Good morning, everybody. I, Cynthia Nodu, membership number. Can we hear me?
So apologies. Also, WhatsApp and we now reach out to the general section. You understand that? So we really don't expect anybody to talk about it. And I apologize for not being there on site. At least at the comfort of your own to actually work. We're supposed to go back to our text for what to say. So please, they are listening. And your friend is not about those who are online or here on site. Now it's time for them to join us. Thank you. Next up is the meeting and adoption of the minutes of held in December 2024. I want to Please, on record, I would like to say thank you, Secretariat, General Secretary of the Studies, table that capturing the research. Page one, at the website, which is our agenda, like the notice page. Next page two. Page two has announcements and ends with professional bodies in Nigeria. Any correction without page two. That's on page two. So, within the bodies, so, it's a statement for that. So, page three. Page two has business of the day and ends with end of the year party activities. Any correction of page three. Which many of them come like those online and get page three advancement. That is not correction of page three. Let's see, page four. Page four has the adjournment of our national medicine. Page three. Let's proceed. Okay, chairman's comments. Okay. What website? Okay. Okay. Okay, yes, WhatsApp. Okay. Yes, okay. All right. Perhaps you know, there's one of the other that's yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. This one should be implemented. The director version is signed by the University of Teaching. Thank you. In the absence of any other correction, I would want to the minutes of the last held in December 2024. That is have somebody who was announced this valley to please move the adoption of the minutes as corrected. Anyone who was at our December meeting, please move the adoption. Is that somebody online? Please confirm that you can get me online. And I have somebody second the motion of adopting the minutes. We are doing this so we can show that we can us, so to help us, find two before we get into the first session. Can you please hear me online? Can you type in the chat box?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman, we can hear you online. My name is Odele Okechukwu. Can you hear me? My name is Okechukwu Ambrose, FCA. I'm moving to second to adopt the minutes. For the adoption of the minute, I'm supporting it. If you had me, thank you.
Also, demonstrating our idea every year, especially my every international year to accomplish. The summer is not just academic activity, it's a means of cementing the legacy of academic knowledge to society. So, society will tell you that it's not mentioned. Everybody, once I need to 60 years old, to cement the legacy. It's a more restrictive. I think that is something because yes, but that shows level of commitment all our past champions to this district. Our district's journal has what we call ISM, ISS heading number, which means that the reference of the board. So any article that comes to that district journal can actually be referenced by any of that anywhere before this next week. So I used to tell you to really accounting topics. Anything from sensation, mental health, stories of life, inspirational, anything you write about treatment and publishment. The editorial community is working on education and it's never really also the one that's basically it's a program because we have great attention. One thing I love about 10 editions of international learning websites actually start second
Let me see them in your call. Sorry. Happy New Year once again. That was okay, always. Let me go now. Let me go and get sent the ring. Always I did go to. The new map.
Mute your video. Some people are having different meetings for the collective one. Mute your videos, please. Mute it.
Okay. Amen. Amen. One way, very next.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We are totally cut off.
Oh, sorry. It's okay now. It's okay now. It's okay now.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear anything.
Hey.
We can't hear, please. We can't hear. Audio. Admin, please, we can't hear you.
So you can find out what Thank you. This is my testimony. Praise the Lord.
Thank you, IBC, and we thank God for what He has been doing in each and every one of us lives. I'm sure you all have one story or the other, to share, but it's not to sound like my football anyway. in a religious gathering. I just wanted to buy time a bit, and but I'm sure we can hear me online now. Please, can you confirm that you can hear me online? Okay, so I have a yes for Mr. Adekunle. And others, please confirm that they can hear me online, please.
Yeah, we
Please,
can
mom.
hear you
Okay,
now
so good.
online. We
Okay, good.
can
Thank
hear
you.
now.
So we're good to go. So I'll
Yeah,
just
Not
we
leave
can
very
this.
hear
loud.
now. Please
Okay.
keep it up,
Chairman, we
please.
can hear
So
now, but it's not very
I
loud.
was talking about, okay, I think I already mentioned the Catch Them Young. When is Catch Them Young happening this month? Can anybody remind me? 29th. What time? Where exactly? The venue? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Recognize the presence of our CITN chairman. As you know, ICAN and CITN are more like Siamese twins. So our dear Elder Ben Adekagun, FCA, please a round of applause for him. Thank you, sir, for being here. And all our elders, we celebrate you. Elder Samuel Adedoyin, sir, we celebrate you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. We celebrate all our elders. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving swiftly to the agenda, may I call on the Financial Secretary, Mr. Olusheye Adedoyin, FCA, to please talk to us and encourage us and thank us and maybe give us some gifts, because I think the Financial Secretary is always going around with money. Maybe sharing something. Who knows? A round of applause for the Financial Secretary. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, happy New Year to every one of us. Let me start by thanking us for how far you helped us last year. And by extension, also thank God because this year, in fact, my goal has been consistent. But ICAN Amuwo members that you are to on behalf of the chairman, thank you.
Are you ready?
We appreciate
You are
you.
ready.
Like I said, you
I thought
started
you were the morning cassava.
So what happened? Even though you know a lot of things have changed, but again, for our members, we still have. Thank you for those that are free. For those who are not free, please, we are still expecting you. Like we always say, you can also probably pay installment. That is also accepted. So we are counting on your support as always. And anytime you pay clarification or anything, just private chat me. Definitely get all the information. In addition, let me also add for those of us that have paid, please, I want to encourage that you try and put the description as much as possible. Especially, you know, at times there are some months that we contribute for so many things. Some will pay subscription that same month, maybe there is a contribution for another thing. You know, it gets a little bit long if the description is not there. So please, as much as possible, help us include the description. And even after payment, you can forward your evidence of payment to me. Either to the platform or to me directly. It all works. We'll treat it accordingly. And like I always say, for those of us who have outstanding for many, we are open to discussion. We can discuss how to structure it. We can also discuss with the approval of the chairman, maybe some extent, some level of discounts, just to help us, you know, clear those very long-aged outstandings. So please, let's talk. Let's keep talking. and so that we can clear your record and make it very, very clean and very neat. Thank you. So you know these days, what ICAN does is that before you can get anything done, they send you back to the district. And you know, it may not be so convenient at that point when the district now start telling you, you are owing this so much money. So that's why it's good that let's start bringing it gradually. And then whenever we have anything, either in ICAN, it will be burdensome at that level. So please, we are counting on your support and always. Like I always say, if you have any question, please reach out to us at the Once again, thank you so much for your support. I will keep counting on your support. And then one more thing, sorry. For those of us who probably need a demand notice for our office and all that, please reach out. We will get it across to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. While you're still standing, I think there's a picture for you from Mr. Francis. Your name and membership number, sir.
He wants to use the mic.
ICAN Amuwo. My name is Francis. My membership number is 184. What I want to introduce you, what I have said, you should at least send pieces of property process. You don't wait until you come so that we are already aware of what they have. What you have paid in the past, just like an account statement, certain numbers, and have their numbers that are in it. So that we will not be there. Some you don't know, some you don't know. So those details and follow up and he said, the man is asking. I think part of the things he wants to send like he wants to do like ICAN national dogs. But he said to you, you send it like that. And so I think we should do that way. And also we have the officers, what we call them. So we have the officers. They are asked to follow up with you. So that we say, yeah, maybe we have group of assigned members to follow up with them. If that is possible, then we all can go.
Thank you for that comment. We'll work on it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, we're grateful. Just to also add a bit to what the Financial Secretary has said, our subscription is broken down into two categories. So the total subscription is 12,500 naira. That's made up of our annual subscription of 7,500 and building maintenance fee of 5,000 naira. As you can see, this place is looking at least a bit conducive for now. The floor is tiled, the fans are working, you know. These are the things we use that 5,000 naira to maintain because this is the SUG building of the school, so we maintain this. So that's why we tag that as the building maintenance fee of 5,000. So yearly, every member is supposed to pay 12,500. However, about around last year, we all agreed that prior to that, we've always been discussing about moving to our own site, having our own building, ICAN Amuwo building. And we've agreed that each member of this district, past, present, future, anytime they join, every one of us will be debited with a sum of 250,000 naira. Now, don't be scared. This money can be paid instrumentally. That money is strictly for the building fund because we intend getting our own building, God willing, anywhere in the Amuwo Solo catchment area. That's where our district operates. So, and we've also been saying that, so if you have the money, you can pay one time 250,000, or if you want to pay instrumental, like some of our members have been doing 50,000 today, 20,000 tomorrow, whatever it is you are paying, once you put the proper narration there, the Financial Secretary will capture it appropriately and start knowing, okay, you're already making up your own 250,000 towards ICAN Amuwo and District Society. That building will be a reality someday very soon. And believe me, you'll be glad and proud that on the plaque in front of the building, your name is there as one of our platinum donors. Yeah, I can see some people smiling. They can see that vision already when we move into that building. And it's going to be a multi-purpose building. during the immediate past chairman's tenure, she was gracious enough to help us come up with a design. So we have a design, we have the electrical, we have a model, the electrical, the structural model, we have MEP designs. No, she's an engineer. You know, she's an accountant. She's an engineer. You know her now. So we have that on ground. So I bet you there's somebody here today who is like, oh, wait, though, there's a building I have somewhere in Festac, or there's a building we have somewhere in Isolo. You can actually donate that building to us. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to name that building after you. So it's going to be Mr. Okechukwu Building, ICAN Amuwo, and the society. So it's going to be a legacy for your children unborn. They will see that during your time here in this life, you laid something that will carry your name forever. So please, if you have a building you would like to donate to us, also, we'll take it, please. And also kindly key into the 250,000 donation that we've all been debited with, please. For those online who are just hearing this for the first time, if you're a member of ICAN Amuwo and Disease Society, please know that you've been debited with 250,000 naira towards the building levy. And that can be paid instrumentally, or you can pay it, at once, God being our helper. Thank you so much. Now, moving to the business of the day. Like I said, one of the reasons why we gather every month is to ensure we equip ourselves with the knowledge and insights. Like they always tell you, you need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And learning is always a continuum in life. And we have a wonderful speaker who is here. He's not a stranger to us, and I'm sure part of a lot of our Gen Z and our millennial people who are here they know a lot about him, because some of us actually went through him during qualifying or lectures. So I'm sure he has one or two students here in our list. So but permit me at this juncture to call on the technical secretary, Alhaji Isiaka Balogun, ACA, to give the technical report, which will dovetail into the technical session and introduce our speaker properly. Over to you. A round of applause for our technical secretary, who is doing an amazing job. You can see what is happening. The technical secretary and his committee members. Please applaud them, applaud them. They're doing an amazing. Yes, thank you. I need to place on record that the technical committee, apart from the technical session we're having every month, they organize webinars twice every quarter. So that means in a quarter we have 3 months. So we leave the months of March, June, September, and December for the Western Zone. That's when the Western Zone holds their own technical webinar. So each district is supposed to key into that. But for every month, apart from those months, case in point now, January and February, we'll be having our webinar. I need to also say that we noticed that a lot of people that joined our webinar are actually from outside ICAN Amuwo and the society. We'll be glad if we get more of our members joining. It's just 5,000 naira. And believe me, the quality of what you'll be getting is more than that 5,000 naira. The knowledge sharing, the networking opportunity. So please, when they publish the next one coming up, the last Saturday of this month, I'm sure by next week we'll start publishing what the topic's about. Let's try as much as possible to key into it. So let's appreciate them. They're doing a great work, ably led by our technical secretary. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you.
Integrity.
Thank you, everybody here present, especially online members. We are to introduce our speaker for today, the person of SAR. I will say this, it's our man. He was here some months ago, but we cannot do without the man. Maybe we should be our new member.
Oh yes, we'll definitely make it register.
Because my those people are with everybody got it on Facebook at home. Why can't it not be a way like this? Yes, this is the man, the friend of Otori Education from University right now. And he is the co-founder of Passport Institute and ASIC lecturer there as well. The man I'm talking about is man of two. If I say two, everything is doing is two. Double. MSc, FBA, PNC, accounting. Top of the accounting. So that's why I say the man is man of two. Double. So he has been one of us
and is a columnist on business business people, and likewise on Arise TV, you always see him there on the top of business of this Nigeria. More or less.
The man we are talking about is here. Okay. The man we are talking about, we can talk about a member of our great institute, likewise, member of the Council of Taxation of Nigeria, and is a seasonal lecturer for ICAN for special centers. So, the man we are talking about, if I start to continue talking about him, I won't finish the program. But he's married and blessed with children. The man is here. I'm presenting to you today. If you look at this profile, I posted it on our group platform and on website. You see him on weekly basis on business news. Your business times, you see him there talking on national issue. More or less that way, one of our persons started then, and it was recognized by the president. I was still talking about him today. The man more or less on the same on national issue. You see him on TV and every day. So welcome among us here today. Thank you for coming. And you're welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, House. Let me start by extending my aspect of reflection to the chairman and ICAN Amuwo for giving it to invite me for a second time during this chairmanship meeting. To me, I feel highly elated. I feel highly honored to be invited. In fact, not like you said, I see myself as a member and part and parcel of this noble district. Having said that, I also want to especially thank all our fathers in the house. In fact, this is the only district where you go to see a lot of elders, and it gives me great joy see them in large numbers when they are supposed to be at home, and you see them coming out, do that thing which has actually made them proud. Thanks. I want to greet you all. To my colleagues, to the entire house, let me wish us a happy new year. As a matter of fact, this is the first of its kind in the year 2025. We shall be looking at a topic that is titled The Role of Internal Control over Financial Reporting in Eradicating the Incident or the Menace of Creative Accounting. A lot of people will be wondering why this topic, of all the topics that we need to talk about. But the fact remains that the world we live in is actually a global village. And part of what we do here goes a long way to impact or affect what is done elsewhere. So there is need for us as chartered accountants to think of how best we can address this problem called creative accounting, otherwise known as window dressing. Quickly, because of time, I will ensure that I keep to that time. Let me take us to the background information that gave rise to the concept of creative accounting alongside the issue of corporate failure. No doubt, within the year 2000, the world witnessed great corporate failure incidences. In fact, more than 100 companies across the globe, when I say globe, we're looking at both US, Europe, Asia, witnessed various degrees of corporate failure. And the impact of such corporate failure was so enormous to the fact that so many persons lost their investment. Apart from losing their investment, some persons that went as far as borrowing money to invest even lost their life. So there were reported incidents
incidences of health issues and what have you. So the onus lies on us as a chartered accountant to think of how best to address those issues. That thing that happened in the global world was not only peculiar to the US. We also had similar incidences here in Nigeria. In the year 2000, 2010, 2020, Nigeria also had a share of their own corporate failure, even though the emphasis was more on the financial institutions that eventually led to the scrapping of such board of directors. But I'm going to pick my case study on the case of Aaron. I want to believe that most of us are very conversant with Aaron. Aaron happened to be an energy-based company residing in the US. They had an accounting firm of high repute in the person of Arthur Anderson. Arthur Anderson happened to be one of the biggest 6 accounting firms that ruled the world up to 2002, following the collapse of Aaron. What really happened then? Aaron was having some financial difficulties. They were owing debt, and the amount of debt being owned by Aaron ran into billions of dollars. Again, Aaron as a company wanted to expand in business. So there is this problem of how do we settle our debt profile to our creditors? And again, how do we expand in business? So there was they had to have talk between the top management of Aaron and the accounting firm of high repute, Arthur Anderson. I had expected that Arthur Anderson would have given a more professional advice on how best to address the issue. But unfortunately, our colleagues there decided to connive with the top management of Aaron. And the outcome of that conniver was that they engaged in the act of window dressing. They manipulated the figures such that what was now presented to the public was totally different from the original state. And after that manipulation, the financial statement was quickly taken to SEC over there in US. And people were asked to come and invest. For the fact that that company was audited by one of the big 6 accounting firms alongside the big 4 that we already know to. And again, for the fact that the auditors gave a clean bill of health, investors went as far as borrowing funds to come and invest. Unfortunately, they invested with the hope of getting a return. But unfortunately, that was not the issue. So that's exactly what happened with Aaron. Not only Aaron, I have a long list of companies that we are engaged in that financial maneuvering, such as the likes of Taito, such as the likes of Adefia, Paradigm System, Lehman Brothers. But the case of Lehman Brothers is heart-touching. Lehman Brothers happened to be one of the biggest financial institutions in the UK. They were audited by, with due apology, one of the big 4 accounting firms. And after the audit, the auditors gave a clean bill of health, issuing what we may call an unmodified audit opinion, or what we call here unqualified audit opinion. Few days after that incident, top management of Lehman Brothers came to file for bankruptcy. I don't know whether we get that, what it implies. It's like I've gone to hospital, the doctor has certified me to be okay, that there is nothing wrong with me. Only for me to turn back and say, don't mind the doctor, I am sick. So that was what happened with the case of Lehman Brothers. Let me not bore us with so much story, but that was what really happened. Like I said, the list is so lengthy, and the world reacted that we need to put a stop to this menace, especially for the fact that this issue was being perpetrated by the so-called professionals. I usually share this experience with my students, that if as a non-accounting graduate, I don't know how to prepare account, how will I be able to now begin to manipulate the figure? So who are the people involved in this thing? You and I, with due respect. So we need to talk to ourselves. That's the essence of this today's data session, to address this issue of manipulation, falsification, and alteration of accounting information. Knowing fully well that information is key. Investors look at what we push out there to be able to take an investment. So it could be anybody's thought. Imagine when we have issued a clean bill of health on a financial statement and somebody goes ahead to invest only for the person to come back and begin to cry foul. So that's what we'll have there. See them, the list there is Whatcom, ES Banker, Calvary Schweff, Freddie Mac, Maxwell, Polypec, BCCI, SETAM, all of them failed. But let me also put it on record that why they failed was not because of creative accounting. There were other incidences. We had the incident of high debt profile. We had the issue of negative working capital. We have the issue of payment of price area. But the most critical of them all, which is the reason behind this session, is the issue of creative accounting, otherwise known as window dressing. Yes, we need to ask ourselves, what then is creative accounting? Well, or what then is fraudulent financial reporting? Because it goes by several names. I have here, I said fraudulent financial reporting, otherwise known as creative accounting or window dressing, can be defined as an unwholesome practice, very, very unwholesome, that involves the alteration, not only alteration, it also involves the issue of manipulation alongside alteration of accounting figures and information that is meant for the public, such that what is finally presented depicts a look that is totally different from the original state. So let's assume that from all indications, those figures supposed to amount to something 10,000, for instance. But because of what I have done, that unwholesome practice, I've been able to change the face of that 10,000 figure to now represent 9,000 or 11,000. So what I now have is totally different. So that's what creative accounting is all about. But then we need to also look at or ask ourselves, why would even a company or why would professionals engage in creative accounting, knowing fully well that this practice is totally unwholesome? It is not acceptable. Some of the reasons behind this unwholesome practice could include, one, to induce investors, but that was exactly what Aaron did. You know, they changed the figure from a company that was already making loss to become profit. And with that, people went as far as investing. But I did not mention to us that at the time the Aaron shares were put for sale, the value was close to $100 per share. But less than 6 months, the share price dropped from $100 to 50 cents. America is not like Nigeria, where I pay 10,000 in the morning, tomorrow I pay 20. No, it takes some of us are guilty, without any exception, to seek for financial assistance from banks. Yes, when we want to get assistance from banks, know that bank will never give help to a company that is dying. At least you must show sign of responsibility, you must sign of a little bit of help before they can give you assistance. So when we want to get financial assistance, that could also be the reason to cover up for fraudulent activity. Yes, you have committed the fraud. You don't want to cover the one you have done. That could also lead to creative accounting. To meet regulatory requirements, oftentimes specified by regulators such as CBN and the like, to also resist takeover when a bigger company wants to take off. So that's some of the reasons. But like I said, those reasons are not acceptable within our domain. How then do we put a stop to this unwholesome practice of manipulation, alteration, otherwise known as creative accounting, window dressing, of fraudulent financial reporting? Some of the solutions available to us, chartered accountants, as great professionals, is to ensure that we have a strong financial management control. So going forward, we must ensure that in our various workplaces, in our various domains, our control measures, as far as financial management is concerned, must be up to date and must be alive. Apart from that, too, we have been enjoined to ensure that we adhere strictly to the issue of corporate code of ethics. We cannot do without adherence to corporate code of ethics, but that is what today's business entails. We must also ensure strict supervisory and oversight function over those that mount the accounting of us have this positive tendency because you have been an accountant. The next thing is for you to go and sit back without watching what that person is doing. No, 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 no. So you need to provide an oversight function. Look at what are they doing? Are they doing what expected of them? We need to also strengthen our accounting and financial reporting process such that what is being done here in Nigeria is also in line with the best practice. We need to strengthen audit supervision. Yes, internal auditors, external auditors must be up to their responsibility to ensure that we do not condone any form of financial misrepresentation and the likes. Still on ways of stemming or combating financial reporting, we need to put in place strong code of conduct for all finance and accounting matters. There must be sanctions who have been found wanting, or those who have been engaging in this act of creative accounting. More importantly, which is
somebody comes and deleted something here,
is the issue of promotion of international control over financial reporting. Yes, that is the subject of discussion. But then it wouldn't have been proper for me to just without giving us an insight as to other measures available. The question is, what is now internal control over financial reporting? I have tried to highlight the reason behind that. The major reason behind the concept of internal control over financial reporting, otherwise known as ICFR, was purely because of the Enron issue alongside the other corporate failure that took place in the US. So the US economy reacted by looking for a permanent solution that would combat this anomaly. And part of what was done was that the lawmakers enacted what is called the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Some of us might be competent with that, otherwise known as SABOS. SABOS, alongside its provision, created for a firm control measure. But this time around, this control measure must focus purely on the financial reporting. So it is in line with the Sarbanes-Oxley Act provision that we are looking at the internal control over financial reporting. So, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, we cannot talk about ICFR without giving credence to the concept of Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Let's not come home here in Nigeria. What actually is supporting ICFR, otherwise known as Internal Control over Financial Reporting? Here in Nigeria, we have our own regulator known as the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act. Remember that this act was the act that repealed the Nigerian Accounting Standard Board Act. In line with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act, Section 60 to Section 63, the Financial Reporting Act amended of 2023, the act provided that for all PSCs, public limited liability companies, and PIE, by PIE, we're looking at public interest entities, that these two, because that is the emphasis point, we need to get it right from the top echelon before we're not driving home. So FRCN was emphatic that PLCs and PIs must begin to adopt internal control over financial reporting, bearing in mind that their financial statements are part of what is being traded publicly. So we don't want a situation where investors will come and invest with the hope of getting a return, only for them to lose their investment. So apart from the provision of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, 2023 as amended, still in Nigeria, we have what we call the Investment and Securities Act, ISA, 2007 as amended. ISA was also enacted to assist in the area of internal control over financial reporting. That particular place talked about the issue of companies. The issue of companies having a clear-cut analysis on how to address issues regarding financial reporting with a view to ensure that whatever financial statement that is being projected to the masses does not contain any atom of material misstatement and that such financial statement must not be misstated. So locally, we have two laws that is giving credence to the ICFR. First and foremost, we have the Financial Reporting Council Nigerian Act 2023 as amended, and we also have the Investment and Securities Act of 2007, Section 60 to 63 as amended, giving credence to ICFR. That is the brain behind what I'm saying. Then at the foreign scene, I mentioned the issue of Sabanis Costly Act. So those three laws collectively are now beginning to champion on the need for us as chartered accountants to begin to address critically the issue of internal control over financial reporting. What then is internal control over financial reporting? I read, based on what is stated under the FRCN Act of 2023, says, ICFR is a detailed compendium that is made up of processes, people, in addition to technology, which has been set up by those charged with governance in order to provide a reasonable assurance that the entity's financial reporting process is accurate, is very reliable, and more importantly, is in tandem or compliance with global best practice. Let me just paraphrase because the definition appears so lengthy. ICFR, more or less, is made up of three key indices, what I would call PPT. In taxation, PPT represents petroleum profit tax. But under ICFR, PPT here stands for people, processes, and technology. So when we talk about ICFR, we are looking at a combination, a compendium of people, you and I, processes that has to do with all the laws that have been put in place, and technology, which has to do with the software put in place to ensure that whatever financial statement that is being rolled out to the public is accurate. Please, very key. The information must be accurate. It must be reliable. Then above all, it must be in compliance with applicable policies across the globe. So that is what ICFR is all about. At least even if we cannot get all that I've said, just know that ICFR is made up of PPT, and PPT here stands for people, processes, and what? Technology, which ensure that the financial statement is accurate, reliable, and in line with what? Global best practice. Please, that is what I need to tell us. Having said that, please, what then is the objective? Why am I making this noise about ICFR on this particular day? I have four critical objectives that ICFR has come to address. And please, I want to ensure to please pay attention. And what are those four objectives? One, to protect the financial statement from any form of misrepresentation. Let it not be that the financial statement is saying A, and meanwhile, from what we have done as professionals, it's not showing B. That's misrepresentation. So ICFR tend to protect us from any form of misrepresentation. Then secondly, to ensure that the information reported in the financial statement is accurate and not materially misstated. So which means that the financial statement is accurate and does not contain any form of error or irregularity. Again, to limit the incident of fraud risk. And finally, to ensure that financial statement is accurate and valid. So those are the four objectives of this concept. Who are supposed to drive this process? Yes, we have heard about ICFR being a compendium of PPT. Ladies and gentlemen, within our various workplaces, there are persons responsible for driving these processes effective tomorrow when we get to our various workplaces. To start with, the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, otherwise known as the Managing Director, must be at the forefront of driving ICFR. In fact, for it to work, then the man must be up to his responsibilities. Apart from the CEO, the man that owns the accounting process, otherwise known as CFO, depending on the size of the organization, whether it's director of finance, whether it's accountant or chief financial officer, he or she must also be up to his task. So apart from the CEO, apart from the CFO, another notable personality that must drive the ICFR platform is the board of directors, especially for public companies. We must have the board of directors consisting of both executive and non-executive directors. The fourth person has to do with auditors. Please, auditors in this context represent both the internal and the external. Then lastly, we must also have what is called an ICFR consultant. So ladies and gentlemen, for us to achieve this concept, there must be 5 unique persons or groups. Once again, the CEO, otherwise known as the MD, we have the CFO, the head of accounts, we have the company's board of directors, we have the auditors consisting of both the internal and the external auditors. Then we must have a trained ICF consultant that will also help to ensure that that is achieved. Having said this, we need to also expatiate more on this ICFR. Yes, in the course of my definition, I made mention of the fact that ICFR is a compendium of PPT, people, process, and what? Technologies. Please, this thing must be with us as we live. But having said that, there is more to this. ICFR is composed. Now, when we go deeper, because it's a concept that, unfortunately, I'm being given 45 minutes. It's a concept that in the next 10 hours, we cannot exhaust it. So I'm just trying to see how we can at least get the few things. In deeper context, ICFR is made up of 5 elements. Hello? Hi. Please, I said ICFR is made up of what? 5 what? Elements. And this element, for easy remembrance, can be denoted with the acronym CRIME. Crime. Yes, crime. Remember that in the definition, we talk about PPT. Yes. But in the real context, it is denoted by an acronym CRIME. C-R-I-M-E. What does crime represent? The first C stands for control activity. Control activity. That's C. Then R represents risk assessment process. Risk assessment process. Then I stand for information system. Forget about the other addendum that was added there to confuse us. Just information system. Then the M talked about monitoring of controls. Monitoring of controls. Then the last but not the least, yes, we may have challenge with the last. But however, how did we come about the E? The last is control environment. So we use the E environment to represent what? Crime. So once again, ICFR is made up of 5 key elements or components known as control activities, risk assessment, information reporting system, monitoring control, and what? Controlled environment. What then is all of this? Please just give me 5 minutes to paraphrase. When we talk about control activity, more or less, we're looking at those control measures put in place to ensure that we eradicate all forms of errors, irregularities, and fraud within our domain. That is what control activities talked about. For those of us in audit, I may liken it to represent what is known as Papa Musa. You know, in audit, we have sites of control. Unfortunately, time will not permit us. Papa Musa is an acronym that represents 10 various types of control that organizations must put in place. So the sum total of Papa Musa is what is embedded under control what activity. The other one we have there is risk assessment. This one is peculiar to the auditor. DU internal or external. This one has to do with the ability of the auditor to identify those business risk factors affecting their entity, then coming up with control measures. So under this, the onus lies on the auditor to look at what are those possible risk factors that affect the organization and how can those risk factors be contented. Then the information system relevant to financial reporting, this one has to do with the sum total of the procedures, policies that will help us to initiate, record, and at the same time report those financial records. The monitoring of controls is the process put in place to ensure one thing is very key. Is one thing for you to put a control. Another thing for you to also ensure that the control is what? Working. When I was working with the bank, we have this, though we call it metal detector, but the name is dead man door. Oftentimes, we try to move across to ensure that that door is working. How do we move across? We go with metals. And in the process of going in, If you have a metal with you and that door does not make noise, it means that that door is what? Faulty. So a typical example of monitoring control is where you have a control, then you now try to see whether you can beat that control. And if you are not able to beat that control, it means the control is what? Up to. So that is what monitoring of control is all about. Then control environment has to do with our level of adherence, or what I would call our level of compliance to all those policies, procedures put in place by an entity. That's where I will stop on that because of my time. What do we stand to gain? Yes, we have been told that we need to inculcate the principle of crime. If ICFR is working, then we stand to gain a lot, especially from us as professionals. We are watchdogs. The society looks up on us. Even the society expects us to be above board. So ICFR attracts so much benefits, such as it will guarantee the integrity of accounting information. So which means that any information endorsed by us is seen to be true and nothing but what? True. The concept of integrity has to do with honesty and truthfulness. Again, it also goes a long way to protect the diverse interests of all the various stakeholders. Mind us that the financial statement is not only meant for shareholders. We also have other stakeholders that are looking up to that. So when they know that all of these things are being put in place, they will be rest assured that whatever they are looking at represent the true picture. It will also ensure strict compliance to global best practice. Earlier mentioned, the issue of Sarbanes-Oxley Act. In fact, you cannot run a firm in US after today without abiding by the Sarbanes-Oxley Act provision alongside the COSO framework and corporate governance ideology. It will also assist management to address all forms of risk issues that a company may also be confronted with. ICFR is also helpful in the area of cost saving because it will limit the auditors and alongside the client resources by spending money on irrelevant issues because the financial statement represents the true picture. So the auditor will not waste much time alongside wasting costs accruable to the entity. It will also promote proper standardization in the way things are being reported, be it here in Nigeria, close to neighbor Ghana, or also there in the US. More importantly, ICFR will help us to promote the issue of accountability and transparency. There will be clear-cut openness as far as financial records is concerned. It will go a long way to build public trust. Yes, people will now rely on whatever you have issued that, oh is this person? Don't bother looking at it. He knows what he or she has done. Then finally, but not the least, it also enhances and boosts public confidence on the works of chartered accountants. Distinguished senior colleagues and my colleagues in the House, thank you so much for listening. This is where I will draw the curtain close for today's session. Thank you so much.
We can do better. We can do better. We can do better. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you so much, Sayuzi. Thank you so much. I know I'm pressed for time. That's why we have to quickly rush more. Albeit, we know we'll be taking questions from our members. Hopefully, that also help us shed more light into some areas we're able to touch on. Okay, I can already see what somebody. Oh, see, I love my members. They are ready. They're ready for you. So I can already see 2 people raising their hands on site. Oh, 3. Oh, 4. Oh, good. See what I said? We need to limit our time because this will also take maybe. Also, ladies and gentlemen, can I please appeal? I know usually our meeting is for 10 to 12 noon, but albeit a lot of us didn't come early today. We are not showing shades. So can we please extend this to 12:30 today? Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you so much. So we can take enough questions and feedbacks. Okay, good. So I have 4 members already on site. Please, technical committee, let me monitor those online. We also want to bring as many as we have about 150 people online joining us right now. We want to bring as many of them on board as much as possible. So for those on site, Madam Azomta,
ICAN Amuwo. ICAN Amuwo. My name is Asomta Ngozi David Edward, membership number 16476. Now, sir, with these issues, most companies, based on my little accounting experience, most companies, even with the big name, don't even have internal auditors. Who will not drive this ICFR in such companies?
So, sir, would you like to say the question? All right, so number 2, sir. Those online, you can start off your questions in chat of the chat box. And for those who would like to raise their hand next time, we'll take you. Thank you. What's your sir? Your name, no one should know my question.
Up Amuwo, up Amuwo. My name is Adibiscal, membership number 53998. Thank you, our facilitator, for this great discussion. You know, sometimes creative and accounting creative sometimes come by the owner of the company embedded expenses, personal expenses into the financial report. And as an accountant, that doesn't have any other place to go. And if you don't abide with their rule and regulation and the way they said, okay, do this thing, if you don't abide with them, it's probably a possibility of losing your job. And then by the time you are now doing by the time you are now input all those expenses, and the external auditor now come also look at it, and because it's one man business, and the external auditor too is one man auditing firm, so he will try to do what to go align with them. In such a situation, what can we do? And you know that all this expense that you are put into the financial report is not realistic. And also, they will not say that okay, you prepare another report for the regulatory body. And I know that the other report is for the creative of an accounting. How can we go about the auditing?
Thank you very much, sir. Number 3, over there. Those online, can you hear me? Stop the question in that box. Thank you.
It don't work. It doesn't work. ICAN Amuwo. Yes, my name is Dr. Olubade. I just want to contribute and at the same time ask questions. The first question I want to ask is on the issue of internal control driving the financial reporting. Because I know in the echelon of the hierarchy of position, even though internal control officers are usually accountants in the company, you know that these internal control people are reporting to the CEO, and the instruction on whatever is going to happen in that place is being given by the CEOs and the board. So it becomes so very difficult for internal control to say it's not going to participate in anything that will lead to whether misrepresentation of fact or whatever. That's one thing. And I want you to understand too that when we are talking about unfair representation of financial statement, you know, when we talk about fair representation, we are talking about accounts that is free from error, and also must also be it must not be biased and must be accurate and complete. Now, it is the intention of any company that drives the compliance to financial reporting. Let me give you an example. There is something we call income smoothing. That is a situation where you want to dress your income in such a way that the management will feel that you are working as a management staff. And at the same time, you are trying to bring more investors to look at your business as being good, which is the case of that error you are talking about. So I am seeing it in another perspective that it may be difficult for internal person who is going to report that account to be able to maintain all those things that we have said. And that is why in the area of that cyber ugly model that you are talking about. US did another thing that involved the Public Account Committee, which we call PICAO. You understand? They did that to ensure that any company, any public interest company, after it has been audited, before it can be sent to the entire maybe populace for them to now look at to make an informed decision, it must be reviewed. What I want us to know is there anything, since we have a local accounting body in Nigeria, Financial Reporting Council, they also have a director that is reviewing, we have the director of audit in Financial Reporting Council. Can they not go further to emulate what is being done in US, so that a public interest company, before the accounts can go to the public to make an informed decision, it must pass through that house. You understand? And that can also be represented in our House of Rep or Zenith, so that will make it to have more what we call it weight. And because in US now, every auditor is conscious that when you audit an account and at the end of the day, there's a problem according to the thought of negligence, you are liable. You understand? These are some of the things that we need. So I want us to look at it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. One of my 5 takes is on. Members are ready to questions. We have plenty of questions from members online. I see Mr. Bakani asking what are penalties for non-compliance, and he was asking what is the timeline for implementation. Mr. Dauda Yakubu also asking what document does one need to produce to show that he has assessed and certified that management with adequate internal control in place. Also, what documents to be presented to external auditor? That's from Mr. Dauda Yakubu. Then Mr. Adekunle Awoyale is saying that can you discuss the relationship between ICFR and external audits and how they complement each other preventing creative accounting? Those are the people who say still some years or so. What's your other?
My name is Kehinde Oladiga, membership number 18605. I have some contributions. First, to colleagues in practice, I want to strongly advise that we should be wary of prior year adjustments. Window dressing. Some window dressing can come in form of prior year adjustments. As external auditor, you need to convince yourself and properly confirm and documented by management before you go ahead to carry out a prior year adjustment, so that you are not guilty of window dressing. Secondly, I also want to advise that ICAN should do more in the area of disclosure requirements. We are in a smart age, and right now we are witnessing a lot of inflow of illicit foreign funds into corporate accounts. We have terrorism financing, we have drug money laundering offenses, and so on. The body, ICAN, should expand the disclosure requirements for companies and auditors, because the consequence will be too great, not only on the profession, the country, and even international consequence, so that we don't get to the point of error. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. And last question on tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Sir Kingsley. Thank you, the chairman. I'm Sunday Onyam, 37485, my membership number. You mentioned that there are 5 key, among others, 5 key stakeholders for ICFR, one of which is CEO, CFO, board of directors, auditors, and ICF consultants. For ICF consultancy, I want to know what qualifies a chartered accountant to become an ICF consultant? That's number 1. 2, what technology is deployable for that part of that kind of consultancy? And then can we liken ICF consultancy to forensic accounting?
Thank you very much, sir. So let's take a breather. And speaker with I'm sure highly impressed members paying rough attention, because question shows that paying rough attention to his presentation. So go into the feedback, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you once again for the question and the answer series. Please, Peradventure, I did not get your question right. Feel free to come into order. Let me start with the first question that was raised by Madam at the back. She said that most organizations do not have internal auditors. Based on this, who will drive the internal control over financial reporting being spoken about? Ma, if you remember what I said when we were looking at the ICFR consultant, I did mention that for the purpose of this lecture, there are 5 groups that must drive it. 5 groups. Who are the 5 groups? Number 1, MD/Chief Executive Officer. Number 1, the head of account. In some organizations, we call them accountant, director of finance, or CFO. That's number 2. The number 3 is board of directors, consisting of both executive and non-executive, depending on the size of the company. Then number 4 is auditors. Even when it comes to auditors, I mentioned the fact that auditors here consist of 2 kinds, internal and what? External. Then lastly, ICFR consultant. So back to the question you raised. If for any reason such a company has the other ones, what I mean by the other ones, there is an MD, functional MD, there is a CFO, the external auditor is also up and doing and also knows it, because it is not all external auditors that understand ICFR. So if you have it, and we now have an ICFR consultant, then those can actually start the process. So it's not a must that all the 5 of them must put their head together. At least that must be a starting point. So I don't know whether that clarifies the question. All right, God bless you, man. Second question talked about the fact that oftentimes creative accounting comes from the owners of the business. And knowing fully well that, if I get the question right, knowing fully well that we must work, at least we must spend for ourselves, we must eat. How will I just come and be telling the owner of the business, ICFR, when I know that my work is put on the line? I think that's the interpretation. Yes. Very simple. Very simple. Unfortunately, the scenario you have painted is also a complex issue that if we want to discuss it here now, 3 hours will not get done. We are looking at the concept of ethical dilemma alongside ethical threats. It's another ballgame altogether. Very complex area. So I may not be able to give you an answer that will that will be able to suit your requirement. But the fact remains that having been called a chartered accountant, the societal expectation from us is very high. In the eyes of the public, pardon my language, they see us as mini God. These ones, they know it all. You know, in fact, they have passed another level altogether. So we must not do anything that will make them to begin to say, what kind of chartered accountant is this person? So where am I going? As much as your work may be on the line, please, let's stand for what is right. That is the only thing I can speak here. And what is right is what is right. So if you lose that job, God forbid, anyway, there are other better jobs out there. It could be that that is not where God has placed you to be. I cannot stand here to tell my fellow colleagues that we must toe the line of creative accounting. It is a no way and it's a no-go area. So despite the dilemma station that comes in, please stand for what is right and let the owner go ahead and do what he or she wants to do, and you have your peace. The other question has to do with what is the role of independence? Especially, yes, that's the question that Doctor raised, yes. Doctor asked the fact that we know that internal control officers report to the management, the owners of the business. And for the part that they report to these people, how will they be truly independent in ensuring this concept? No doubt, no doubt. The level of independence to be enjoyed by an employee cannot be compared to that of an external person. So I don't expect an internal control officer or an internal auditor, depending on the nomenclature they call it. They all tend to move in the same direction. I don't expect you to exhibit 100% level of independence, but be that as it may, the onus lies on us to ensure that we state the fact right. How do we state the fact right? One of the best ways to state the fact right is to document whatever conversation, whatever dealing you are having with the MDCU. Peradventure something goes wrong, because that is the only thing that can make us not to be found wanting. So oftentimes, verbal communications can be denied. The man will deny that he did not. So where am I going? Please try to use memo to tell him the impact of what he or she is demanding from you, which you know is not right. So that when something goes wrong, even if the institute have cause to call you to come and say something, you can actually tender that this was the evidence I said. This was, you have done your own part. They know quite well that you cannot be the boss in the organization where you are an employee. But have you done the right thing? Did you inform him? Did you notify him? And what was the medium of communication? Please, documentary evidence cannot be jeopardized in this, our profession. I tell my wife, I can't do anything with you orally. I must document it so that tomorrow, if you deny, I'll show you an evidence. So that is the only way. You cannot be 100% independent, but strive on your own part and document it. The other question has to do with disclosure requirement. Well, it is not the duty of ICAN. I stand to be corrected from my senior colleague. It's not the duty of ICAN to ensure that we disclose the information. Yes, in the course of the training, we are being told on what to do. But I want to believe that the agency saddled with that responsibility is the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. And that is where I need to ask us, how many of us have been duly registered? So please, we need to get ourselves registered with that organization. Everything that has to do with full disclosure is embedded in their manual. And I believe, even though they may not have been doing, but I think they are really working hard to ensure that we disclose. The only thing that the emphasis is more on, like I said in the course of the training, the emphasis is more on PLC and the public interest entities. Those are the areas they have started first. Before we know it, they will go down to the small and medium organization. I think that takes care of that. The other question, it says, I think the question concerns, sir, can you help me with that question again? Can we liken, okay, say, can we liken internal control over financial reporting to forensic accounting?
I think I'm here.
Okay, you are the one that asked it. Okay, let me start with that. No, the two are not the same. The two are not the same. One has what has internal control over financial reporting, like I said earlier, has to do with some total of policies, procedures, and technology put in place to show that accounting information is accurate, reliable, and above all, consistent with global practice. When we talk about forensic accounting, we are looking at the deployment of specialized skill, knowledge, technique, expertise in the area of accounting information in order to assist an accountant assemble and report an accounting information in a way that it becomes admissible in a court of law for dispute resolution. So forensic accounting focuses more on gathering of information which will now be taken to court to resolve dispute. But internal control over financial reporting has to do with ensuring that the information itself from the onset is free from error, is accurate and what? Valid. So that is the two. But even though at the long run, we may have some areas where both of them come in, but the two of them are totally different. I think the other question has to do with the body that licensed them. Or did I get that question right? Okay, all right. Yeah, locally, we do not have anybody yet because it's a concept that is beginning to get some level of popularity. I want to believe that in due course, we may now begin to have specialized certification. But to start with, in US, I know that this particular concept is adequately embedded in the provision of Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which I talked about earlier, source guidelines. So they are the ones for now, let me say, driving this force. And I want to believe that since FROCN is our own equivalent of that body, maybe in no distant time, they should be able to give us, a form of certification that will bring members on board in order to understand this concept. So locally, there is none, but further insight can be linked to Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. I think I got that. If I don't know whether there's any other one I missed.
I think I'll take one exception. Elder no.
Okay, sir.
Elder's online. Okay, we'll take it.
Okay.
How I can. My name is Olani. Okay. Now I want to add something. This idea Ghana control man would not work to convince the executive of an organization. I want to disagree with that. From my personal experience, right? When I was there in those days, if I write any report, all my executive directors will respect it. And if there is any other one from another person, my managing director will ask if all the person has seen it. And I know what I mean. The internal control of a thing is a very interesting thing. When you know what it is, you expect Mr. A to sign, what is it called? A payment voucher before it's to be paid by Mr. B. If Mr. B will pay without the signature of Mr. A, he has contravened set internal control. And there are other ones like that. But you see, the man who wants to be the internal control head, I happened to be internal auditor and internal control head. The man who wants to be must be very, very good in himself, right? When you are good and you are sure of the report or you are convinced of what you are arguing about, they will respect you. Even the owner of the business will respect you. I happen to have so much series of experience in that kind of regard. I had supportive staff who are usually sent on errand or examination purpose. When they go, those they are meeting knew who is coming. But when it is Olanipemi coming, those who are paying me my transport grant will inform them that it is he who is coming home, and they know what I mean. And what I mean is, you cannot bribe me with anything. You cannot cajole me with any wrong people. So, gentlemen and ladies, as chartered accountants, let us be more than just the ICAN certificate. What do I mean by that? We must be confident in ourselves, confident about what we're doing and how we are doing it. When you are convinced you are right, not even 10 times, 10,000 managing directors come and say you are wrong. When you are right, you are right. Internal control is about doing things right and getting it right. That's what I want to say.
I patiently listened to his comment. What he said is, who are you in that organization? That is the summary of what he said. If they know you as somebody who take bribe, somebody who compromise standards, if you like, right from here to Jericho, nobody will listen to you. So that is summary. So, but if they know you as somebody who stand firm, who stand for what is right, what is just, whatever report put over you will be listened to. So please, Let's, as the year has just commenced, let's redefine ourselves. Peradventure, we have derailed. Nobody is perfect. If you have derailed, redefine yourself. Let people begin to know you and know what you stand for. That is summary.
Thank you, sir. Before you wrap up, I think we took like 2 questions from those online. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Okay.
I actually read it earlier. No, just go all the way up. I think the first 3 questions. Apologies for those online. You can still reach our speaker. We will publish his personal information. If you need him for personal consultancy, you pay him his consultancy fee. You still come so, but please let's just okay, so one from Olafemi is saying that what are the penalties for non-compliance? He's also asking what is the timeline for implementation?
Okay, the penalty for non-compliance is actually issued out by Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. Like I said, for now, the emphasis is not on all the companies. So they are focusing more on public limited liability companies and public interest entities. I cannot categorically tell you what the amount is, but if you log on to the FRC, you get a full list of penalties for non-compliance. And what is the timeline for implementation? It has kicked off for those PIEs and PLCs. It has commenced.
Okay. The next one is from Dauda Yakubu. He's basically asking that as an ICFR consultant, what documents does one need to produce to show that he has assessed and certified the management? Because basically it's just documentation.
What need to produce to show that he assessed and the fact that management put adequate internal control in place? Well, that has to do with looking at those components earlier mentioned. Your document must be able to make reference to control activities of the organization. Yet your report must also highlight the issue of information relating to financial reporting. There must be documentation on the control, monitoring of controls. How effective is those controls? You must also be able to put up a documentation as regards the control environment. That is to say, how have the people, how have the organization been adhering to those control measures? So please, your documentation must focus on those 5 key areas. Right. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much. That'll be it for now. A round of applause for our speaker. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. We're very grateful for the past 1 hour. You've been on your feet. You know, we're dishing it out and we're dishing it to you too. So we are grateful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'm going to call on our Vice Chairman, Alhaji Adetayo Hassan, FCA, to give the vote of thanks to our speaker. Thank you, sir.
KGW, MSc, MBA, FCA, FCTI, PhD, in view. We are putting up a better academic expose it. Because we are dishing it, and I'm sure from the plethora of questions asked, there is no doubt that people listen with rapt attention, and I'm sure many of us will have gained one thing or the other from this lecture. If there's anybody who comes here and leave the way he has come, that person must have come here to waste his time. And I'm not sure there's anybody who fits into that too. And you also made us remember when we are in school, because some of the acronyms you are using,
yes,
for internal controls, crime, you know, PPT. So
I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't want to show
So basically, you've really made PPT means people, process, technology.
Technologies, yes.
People, process, technology. So basically, you've made our day. You've impacted on us positively. Not only that, this is your second time in this chairmanship here. As mentioned by you, as mentioned by the chairman, as mentioned by the technical executive. So what does that mean?
He's a member, yes.
Yes. Apart from being a member here, it means you are giving us something which we enjoy. And we are accommodating. You can see an elder. So, we want to thank you very much for taking your time. I know I met you here this morning, and that shows you are punctual, and the way you said, the way you said down there, if we don't know you before, some would just say maybe you're a new member. So compose, so relax, that you know what you want to do, and you gave us the stuff. And the good Lord that has given you the stuff, may He continue to endow you with knowledge. We want to thank you very much for accepting our offer to come here and for giving us what will make us more and better accountants. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to lend my voice to what the Vice Chairman has said. Sir, we are very grateful. Thank you for always yielding to our call. We do not take it for granted at all. We know how busy your schedules can be. You probably have several lectures you need to attend to today, but you made us a priority by being here. And we pray that the Lord will continue to equip you, bless you abundantly, and protect all that you have. In Jesus' name. Thank you so much. A round of applause for him once again. We can sit together and okay, dear members, the paper has been shared already. It's on our WhatsApp, and for those who are online, we also dropped it on the Zoom, so you can easily pick it up from there. Yeah, like we always say, you're not a stranger to us, and it's always a privilege to have you here. On behalf of the entire members and executive committee of ICAN Amuwo Society, I'd like to thank you again for sharing your words of knowledge with us, giving us your time for impacting us, and we know you are rest assured of what when we call upon you again, definitely. This is not a case of we're saying it too many times. No, I'm sure our members are even hearing it from now. You want to see him again? Yes. You want to see him again? So much as we call on you, sir, please oblige us to be around. Thank you so much, sir.
Wait. No.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, see, he came bearing gifts. Oh my God. So, that being said, I also like to recognize one of our past chairmen, the man whom I actually learned a lot from, because he also goes through the executive committee together. My senior, my elder Emmanuel Olawi. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here, sir. So good to see you. So good to see you. Can I have a working mic? Can I have a working mic, please? Second mic. The second mic, please. Second mic. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
This is another one.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so
I had
yes,
that's it. That's why it shows that I am being record. Not like that said, shows that this should be highly as the president and I see this place as my home. Not like I said, the most I can achieve. When I want to live on the 2009, when I created the people,
I personally came here. It was on a Saturday. I came in the morning to make inquiry. But the only challenge I had, why I ended up did not join the district, was because of the fact that the meeting days were on Saturdays. After then, when I was lecturing in Pi with Baba Keju, I used to have morning lectures 8 to 12 every Saturday. So I looked at it, it wasn't possible for me. So maybe that was why I had to leave. But my spirit have always been here. So I see this place as my home. I will always continue to identify with us in any way God has blessed me with. On this note, as I'm leaving, I want to donate this book to the district. We can use it. We can also give it to our students during the Catch Them Younger program.
Thank you.
So please accept it. From me.
Thank you so
God
much.
bless you.
This is called Descriptive Audit and Assurance. It's a dictionary, something that will really help a lot of our young ones. And even us. So he's donating this to the districts, and I'm sure we can also patronize him to also purchase one, because this is something he actually wrote. So please, if we need to get more copies, kindly reach out to me or to him directly so we can get more copies. This is also a way of us supporting the district, so we can get more copies and share to our students coming for the Cap Day Young from him. So, sir, we're grateful. Thank you so much. I also like to give you this, let's see our media past chairman. Like I told you, she's an engineer. She works with a company called Keno. Yeah, so once you build a house, everything engineer. No, she's a builder, she's a quantity surveyor. Wow. Only one person. Okay. So then our district calendar. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a wonderful session. The time is 12:14 p.m.